So we now to wrap up our day, we have another panel of a world-class customer service. So first, I would like to introduce Mr. Curdy Cutco Curtis from the Southwest region, who is currently enjoying his best life in Hawaii with his family. And I just want to thank you for spending time with us because I know, us, Hawaii, whatever. I know we're important to you. Curtis is at 8.1 million and counting in career sales. He's qualified to be part of this panel because he has over 15,000 customers. He averages about 700 plus in-home, in-person service calls every year. He's a Hall of Famer, a Silver Cup winner, a Rolex wearer. This year, he has had 14 days of service events where he averaged $9,700 a day. So, Curtis, either something in the water where you're doing the service events or you actually know what you're doing. So either way, we are excited to hear from you. Past customer business is the biggest part of his success, and he loves creating a family atmosphere with his customers. He's married to his lovely wife, Tui, and is a proud papa bear to his princess, Chloe. And if you ever get some one-on-one time with him, ask him about his theater days as the big bad wolf. And without further ado, take it away, Curtis.
Perfect. Aloha from Hawaii, everyone. Excited to talk to everyone today about customer service. I think that customer service is the key to success with Cutco. It was great listening to all the talks today and getting even more information out of what I can do and what I need to do in my business. The great thing about what you're going to learn today is that Joffrey Grimes is after me, and he's going to be talking about through lines with your business and how to do that with your customer service, which is one of the key components that I focus in on. But he's going to talk to you about that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about some things that I think are important with customer service that will provide a little bit more information on who I am and how I do my thing. What Loretta did is she talked about creating a family atmosphere. What we do is we definitely want to talk about our family and who we are and what we're creating, but letting that customer in on our family of customers and really connecting them with the bigger picture of Cutco, which we just heard from the social media, right? It's all about making sure that it's all congruent, but at the same time that they feel like it is consistent every single time that they see our customer service or they see anything with Cutco Curtis on it. The first thing that I have right here is my approach is low key and great listening. And I think that customer service starts with being low key, so not super aggressive, super attack mode, and being a very great listener. What I have here is be an ally, not a machine. A lot of representatives forget that being transactional or being that rep that only takes the transaction from that customer, so collecting the credit card and then moving on, really has a huge effect on your business and your customer service. When I say be an ally, what that means is be a concierge and have that knowledge about not only the product, but also the pricing that's out there as well. And what I mean by that is that if a customer asks you a specific question about a product, you should know what it is. And if you don't, then refer back to Cutco or say, I will ask, and then I will get you the information. Also with pricing, know that there's a wide variety of pricing out there, anywhere from Costco all the way to fairs and shows to the full retail value that you see online. Know exactly what a customer is talking about so that if a customer comes to you and says, hey, I saw this knife at Costco for $68, what's your price? Don't be shocked by that. You should already know, and you should know how to handle that properly. The second thing that I have here is be present and understanding the customer. The biggest thing is being present and being sympathetic. Obviously, with everything going on right now, you have to be more sympathetic than you have ever been and not being so, what I say is taking, right? Instead of giving a lot, right? understanding the customer's needs. Don't sell them things that you know will come back to bite you in the end. If you know that you live in a dry climate, let's say Colorado, you don't sell them a wine opener without telling them that, hey, we live in a dry climate, and that if you don't use this wine opener properly and put it in a certain way, it will dry out the cork and you won't like it, basically. Now, if we tell them store your wine a certain way, make sure that the corks, don't dry out, this works fantastic. Then the customer understands the product more, right? The other thing too is that, yes, a lot of representatives across the nation tell you sell everything all at once to your customers because you never know when you're going to see them ever again. And I always say, well, if that's your attitude every single time you see a customer, then you're not building your business based off of customer service. Okay. I expect that customer is going to buy everything the first time that I see them because that's my expectation. But if that doesn't happen, guess what? I know that I'm going to see them 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in the future, right? We always have to think about the future, right? And that comes to my next thing I have here is don't be aggressive with your marketing. And what I mean by that is that if every single time your customer gets reached out to you, it's a sale or it's a promotion or it's about something that they should be buying, that customer is going to be turned off almost immediately and they want no interaction with you or the product. And what we need to do is we need to come from an education standpoint. Educate your customers more about the product, right? If you want to sell more cookware, it's really easy. Send them an educational video about cookware, not, hey, we have a sale on cookware. Do you want to know about our cookware? If you educate the customer and you get them more known about the product, right? More knowledge is the best thing that you can get. So educate them. Don't create sales all the time. Being a family member means that you have to open up and you have to talk to the customer directly about what's going on with you, what's going on with them as well. And customer service is a lot like that. You have to understand the problem before you can fix the problem. And a lot of times what people want to do is they want to fix the problem first before understanding what actually could be the problem. And there might not be a problem at all. The customer might misunderstand what's happening in that or with that product. So what I have here is that you have to stop talking about yourself. And what I mean by that is it's not about your goals. It's not about how much you're going to sell. It's not what you want to do. Remember, they're going to have these knives 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. And if you're that representative that's all like, oh, my goal this summer is to sell this and you need to help me, then obviously you're not going to be here long term. And what I mean by that is that every word that you speak to your customer, like a true family member, they keep that dear to heart. Okay. A lot of my customers say, yeah, I had this college rep that sold to me years ago, never saw him again, never heard anything, da 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 da. And a lot of you guys I know are shaking your head hearing customers say that. That's because they worked with a representative that wasn't about customer service and wasn't here for the longevity. And I know that everyone on this call is here for the longevity. So what we have to do is we have to talk from a standpoint of being a family member, right? And what that means is that sometimes you have to do it where they have to trust you. Like if you say, don't buy that, I know you're not going to like it, then they're going to trust you even more than selling them everything and always saying, oh, it's amazing. This is amazing. Oh, that's the best. Oh, you're going to absolutely love it. Oh, don't worry. You're going to enjoy this. Don't be that person. Be real, be authentic, and be a great listener to them and give them great advice. That way your customers can start to rely on you.
Thank you, Curtis. Appreciate that. That was awesome. Short and sweet and to the point, and I loved it. So thank you very much for sharing. We're going to move on to our next panelist, Mr. Geoffrey Grimes. For you, those of you that don't know, is from the Western region. Geoffrey started with us in 2002. He told me that his start date is old enough to vote. So I thought that was very interesting. He's at 3.2 million in career sales. He is a Hall of Fame member, a Rolex representer, and he won a silver cup in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic and some really hard personal times in his life. So that did not go unnoticed, Joffrey. I wanted you to know that. He's super thoughtful and he's always thinking about others. Last year, he sent me a sous vide, and I thought, what the heck is this thing and how do I use it? It's been tremendous fun getting to know how to use that. So thank you very much. You're the only person who cares about my pork chop temperature. Needless to say, he is also the father to Leo, an 11-year-old, 29-pound furball kitty cat. And he just settled into his brand new home. He was a homeowner at the age of 21, was his first purchase. So that is very exciting for those watching, setting goals for being a homeowner. Like I said, he just settled into his new home. I can't wait to hang out there. I can't wait to have a building Lego session with you, or a lightsaber fight, or any other good times you and I can get into. So without further ado, let's go, Gio.
Thank you kindly, Loretta. A lot of people on the national stage don't particularly know me because even though I've been doing this for almost 19 years, this is my first time speaking at a national event outside of a round table. And I couldn't be more excited. Thank you very much. Being asked to share on this panel with Curtis was truly an honor. And it's no real secret that Curtis and I both won silver cups last year. Also, both him and I are hardcore customer service people, right? The main thing I really want to dig into with my brief time is talking about through lines and being transparent with those through lines all the way through everything, right? You're gonna basically, you already heard Curtis talk about some similar things that I'm going to touch on from a different voice, from a different perspective, right? It'll make a lot more sense. Basically, that makes a lot of sense considering I've been coaching with them for the last couple of years. I want to give a real solid concrete example that everyone here is going to connect with before I blow this topic up bigger, because this is a really big universal umbrella topic that will run through all of our businesses, right? We all know the slogan, Cutco Cutlery, world's finest cutlery. And I want to focus on the world's finest. So many of us start our demos with that slogan. And later on during my close, sometimes basically, like all of us, customers are going to have questions. What option do I go with, right? And almost always in my closes, especially when we start talking about packages above $1,000, and more often than not, packages well below that, something I almost always add in, something that comes up very regularly in my conversations, is the phrase, because I'm the guy who's been doing this for 19 years, I'm always because I'm the guy at the shows, I'm never thinking about the conversation we're having today. I'm always thinking about the conversation I'm going to have with my customers 3, 5, 15 years from now, because I've been doing this for a really long time, right? Suddenly that puts the close in a completely different perspective, because the customer realizes that you're not thinking about now, you've literally just told them, I'm thinking about a decade and a half from now. They're not thinking that far out, okay? The other thing that happens after the close, after they've gotten their order, or after we've signed everything, is, especially with a new purchase, I'm going to tell all my customers in the next year or two, I'm always going to encourage my customers to have a service call. It's not because the knives are dull. That's not what's going on. It's for the re-education and the reminder of why you bought what you bought. You're absolutely going to love your Cutco. Thank you so much for being part of my Cutco family, right? So I bookended the end of that sale with, hey, you're going to see me soon, right? Then in my CRM, I'm going to create a tag in the basically a tag for that first service call. Here's what this is really doing, okay? Because some of you are like, okay, that's a little clunky. What's going on here, right? It's training your customers to actually believe in what you're telling them long-term. You're building a solid relationship built on trust, transparency, and most importantly, follow through. that puts us, that puts you, that puts the Cutco product in a completely different stratosphere that just does not exist with other products, right? Curtis talked about stepping into the ethos of being a concierge and really rolling out the red carpet treatment. And I want to give a concrete example of what that looks like over time, right? All of my actions, I try and make sure all of my actions are in congruency with what I'm saying. Dan Garrido mentioned some of the checks he has on his business with his mastermind group, some of the checks he has on his business with Chuck and Deanna. One of the greatest checks for me has been Michael Southard. Michael Southard got a hold of me at about 10 or 11,000 for sales. I'm at 3.2 now. Michael and I go back a little ways. While there's things I've thought through and I've said, you know, I'm pretty sure this is in line. Every once in a while, basically Michael still catches me, checks me, and asks me the really hard, challenging questions. And while that might kind of piss you off in the moment, while that might be frustrating in the moment, it makes all the long-term systems and your business far better long-term. And having those close friends in the business, having the extra CSPs around you in the business where you can check your ego at the door and have that real business conversation really is one of the best ways to grow and work out where those issues are, right? I also know very well this is one of the secrets of Deanna's business, making sure the systems are congruent all the way from when she gets the referral to when she does the presentation, through the follow-up, and all the way through her team backing her up on the marketing side of things, whether that be an assistant, whether that be her husband, Chuck. Yes, for those of us with assistants, those through lines, for those of us with teams, those through lines have to run all the way through everything that they're doing as well. As we level up and leverage either other people and or technology, the congruency of the system means even more. What you're doing is you're encouraging the brand of Cutco all the way down. So often reps get caught up in just the system of the appointment, right? Oh, the appointment has a system. Okay, cool. And what you really want to do is build your system so that it runs congruent all the way through, not just your appointment, but the follow-up and the brand we represent, Cutco. I attempt to have all my through lines in congruency with Cutco, so that way the larger brand is doing the heavy lifting of credibility. In other words, I want to make sure the principles Cutco has as its cornerstones are the principles and cornerstones of my own customer service systems. I try and have them be the guiding light I start from, right? Representing the world's finest. Some of the older reps, especially some of you who are homeowners, may have already put 2 and 2 together. Here's what this is really achieving. And it's a much deeper way of building relationships, building quality, and building long-term customer loyalty all simultaneously. What I'm doing is moving away from using rapport as a closing technique and a transactional selling method, and moving my business in a direction of long-term service where buying is a natural byproduct, a natural outcome. So the customers aren't being sold to, they're buying. We've all been taught very early on, nobody wants to be sold to, they want to buy, right? That's something we've all been taught in advanced training. This is that at that next level. When you're representing a product at its highest levels, you carry yourself in line with those values. And the follow-up, when no one is looking, when there's no sale on the line, fits perfectly in line with what you said when a sale was on the line. Suddenly, that's when the trust is built. That's when the trust is locked in. When you're giving that same caliber answer, when you're not receiving income. I'll give you a hint. Most of our customers have figured out we're commission salespeople. Most customers figure that out very quickly. When you're giving those same high quality caliber answers all the way through your marketing, all the way through your assistants, all the way through your email drip systems, suddenly that's when that trust is built, right? We're all taught, most of us by this point have been assistant managers in the business. We're all taught in AM training, it's much harder to quit a relationship than a job. We're also all taught that no one remembers the price, they remember a feeling, okay? When you're able to continue that feeling that they had when they purchased of being taken care of, all the way through your marketing, all the way through your team, all the way through your materials, your booth layout, the locations you pick for service events, and everything else that we as independent sales professionals do in the field, it creates long-term buying. It sets up the next sale. Zig Ziglar always taught, if you're truly a great salesperson, your number one job on a sales call, on a sales presentation, is to leave that prospect more open to buying your product the next time they encounter it than before they met you. This is the cornerstone of my high caliber customer service. This is the reason I was able to grow almost 20% with the removal of fairs and shows last year. This is the cornerstone of my through lines representing the world's finest cutlery. Thank you.
Well done, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us today. Oh, cheers. I mean, I don't have a wine glass, but you know, whatevs. Thank you very much.
It's grape juice, I swear.
And to Fancy, to round our day together off, we have our final panelist, and that is Amiee Mueller. To many of you that know Amiee, she is known as the systems queen. She's probably one of the most organized people that I've ever met or had the privilege to work with. She's worked at many levels of the business. She's been a rep, a BM, a DOM, a DM, region office, everything, because I worked with her in the region, and thank God you were there. So you did a great job. Now her business, Vast Action, is a strategic partners with Cutco. She and her team help support our CSP and FSM community in regards to list management, email marketing, direct mail marketing, coaching and admin support, and much, much more. One reason she's qualified to be a panel member is her retention of her team members and clients. If you serve people well, they stick around. It's something that she's always been good at, and you can tell because her team never seems to leave her side. So I think that speaks for itself. Besides the many positive reviews that Cutco CSPs have written about how they are served by her company, Vast Action, she's also known to be a fantastic host to guests at the Mueller compound. I would like to say that I was one of them. She actually prepared and served me my first 100% vegan meal. I thought I would starve to death and be searching the house late night for some snacks. But needless to say, it was one of the most delicious things I've ever had. I still think about it to this day. And without further ado, I'd love to bring up Miss Amiee Mueller.
Thank you. Can you hear me, Loretta? Perfect. Thank you for the wonderful intro. So on the topic of customer service, I was sitting here asking myself, what does it mean to have good customer service? And I imagine that all of us could sit down and make two lists. The things that have had that, people or companies have provided to us that were helpful, or we would call that good customer service, and the things that really didn't serve us well that we would say are not so good customer service. And if you Google it, by the way, all of the articles have between 5 and 20 things you can do to be good at customer service. You can also find conclusions, by the way, online about all the studies that have been done about customer service and find out things like the vast majority of customers will stop doing business with someone if they feel they've been provided poor customer service. How also the vast majority of customers are willing to pay more for things if it means they'll get good customer service. So you can obviously start by using your own experiences to inform how you should be treating your customers, ways that you like to be treated well as a customer. I'm going to share today, not those 5 or 20 things, just 3 things that I think cover a lot to do with customer service and how to be amazing at it. And I will say, it's not just Cutco or Vast Action. We also run rental properties in an Airbnb, and our Airbnb is 5-star across the board. Like we stay really well booked. And I think most that's because our reviews are so great that other people see the reviews and then they come. And so I'm really proud of that as well. So even just something in a totally different industry or category, we still work really hard to provide really great experiences so that we are rated well by the consumers at that. So 3 things we're going to talk about today. One is response time. The second thing we're going to talk about is anticipating needs, and also in that category, over delivering fits in with that really nicely. And then 3 is human connection. Okay. So first thing is response time. So I'm asking you now, if you're thinking to yourself, when a customer reaches out to me for any reason, how quickly do I usually get back to them? So ask yourself that question. What is usually my response time to my Cutco customers, right? And then listen to these stats. So I went and got some research done for you guys. According to superoffice.com, who did a research of 1,000 companies, so this is from the company standpoint, right? 1,000 companies, the average response time to respond to a customer is 12 hours, okay? According to a 2018 study done by Toyster Solutions, which surveyed more than 1,200 customers, so this is from the customer standpoint now, right? Asking them what they think about customer service and their expectations, it said that the 89% of customers said that 1 hour in email response time, by the way, would meet their expectations, not exceed it, meet it. It also said that a study showed that for companies that want to have world-class customer service, that your response time should be based on those responses by customers within 15 minutes or less, right? Now, when someone reaches out to you by text, by voicemail, by email, and they say, I'd like to buy a homemaker set, how quickly do you get back to them? Okay, here's one thing I will tell you. 2020 was a weird year. We all know it. But the interesting thing was, with all the events canceled and traveling canceled and all that stuff, a lot of CSPs had more time to sit down and do the follow-up more quickly than they otherwise would have, because they usually get so busy with events and stuff, they don't get to follow up as quickly. So for example, Josh Mueller last year was able to follow up way faster than usual. And did he get better results? Yes, he actually noticed that by following up to the first outreach more quickly, that 2 things happened. 1, he had a higher closing ratio on orders, so more sales, yay. 2, it took less time between the first outreach and getting the final answer. Like, there are some people, you guys probably have experienced this, there are some times where customers will reach out and ask like, hey, I need to buy a pair of shears or whatever. And then you call and they don't answer. And then you text and they never respond back. And then you call again. And like 4 weeks later, you're still calling being like, do you still need those shears? Like, I don't know what's going on. But to get a yes or a no, they stay on Josh's list until he gets a yes or a no when they reach out to him asking for something, right? And that gap shortened by responding the first time more quickly. So can it relate to more CPO? Yes, absolutely. But the real question you have to ask yourself is, if you want to call yourself world-class customer service, then really you should be responding quickly to every request. So not just, can I buy a homemaker or can I buy shears? It's like, hey, I have a broken knife. Hey, how do I get sharpening? Hey, the wrong color arrived in my order. What do I do? Don't just respond quickly to the sales, the request to order stuff. Respond quickly to any request from a customer, okay? So that's point number 1, is response time. Point number 2 is anticipating needs. So in Forbes, the author, there was an article in Forbes written by the author who also wrote Talk Like Ted and also The Apple Experience. And she said, now I'm going to read this because it's a quote, brands and individuals who offer radically superior customer service stand out because they anticipate unexpressed needs or wishes, right? So when customers, here's the idea of it. When customers express what they want, right? They ask you for something. If they ask you for something and you don't deliver it, they may think that you have poor customer service, right? That's a possibility. When they ask for something and you deliver it, they may say you have good customer service. They may just say, well, he did his job. I asked for it and he gave it to me. I'm the customer. That's what I wanted, whatever, no big deal. So it may not be good. It just might be what's expected, right? But when they don't ask for something and you deliver it, no matter how big or small it is, that's what puts you in that category of surprise and delight, over delivering, right? All those things. And that is a whole other thing. And I can tell you from experience, because we had a customer. Well, let me start with this. Have any of you ever traveled somewhere, by the way, where you get there to the hotel, the Airbnb, and then all of a sudden you realize that like you didn't bring your toothpaste, or your toothbrush or something, right? Your razor, your shampoo, your conditioner, whatever. What if you got somewhere, you were traveling somewhere and you got there and there's a little box sitting on the thing that you weren't expecting to be there that says, hey, just in case you forgot. And it had shampoo, conditioner, a razor, toothpaste, a toothbrush. And then you go to the little kitchen area and it's got ketchup and mustard and salt and pepper and butter and coffee and sugar and all that stuff. How do you feel about it? Because that's what we do at our Airbnb, by the way. And that's part of why we get the reviews like, we love all the little touches. Thank you for all the little treats and stuff they weren't expecting. We don't say that on the listing. It's just there when they show up. It's unexpected, surprise, and delight. There was a time that Josh was traveling from home at a show or something in an event. And he placed, like, a customer placed an order for 6 table knives. And Josh said that we had a table knife gift box here with us that I was supposed to mail to that customer. So when I go to find the gift box, of course, we don't have a 6 table knife gift box. We have an 8 table knife gift box. And there's no time. There's not enough time to order a 6 table knife gift box to send to her. It wouldn't get there in time from Cutco and all these things. So I was sitting there with a choice to make. I could reach out to the customer, explain the problem, all these other things. But instead, I just went, you know what? The best thing I can do for this customer right now is to send her an 8-piece table knife gift box with 2 free table knives in it. And that's what I did. Sent her a list. I was like, hey, I'm sorry this is an 8-piece box. We didn't have this 6-piece. I threw in 2 more table knives so you could complete the set as 8 and give that to the person as a gift. And she was super excited. It was like a year or so later, I was talking to somebody else in that same area. And they were like, oh, you guys are the ones she was talking about. She raved and raved about how you're the best at customer service and all these things, right? And you're not gonna do that all the time, but when you have the opportunity to over deliver and you can do it, why not do it, right? So that is anticipating needs. Now, how else can you anticipate needs? Think about all the questions that you get. So like anytime you get questions from customers, we used to get questions like when they buy cookware, it'd be like, how do I get my lid unstuck? Right? We get that question all the time. You're like, okay. So then when you get these common questions, just create the tools. So we created the email of how to get the lid unstuck. And then you just shoot it off right away. And not only is it quick response time because you already had the template made, you just shoot it off right away. No problem. I'll send you an email right now. You shoot it in 30 seconds of the request, right? But also it's helping and teaching and providing value like Curtis talked about earlier. So that's why we have the 8 email drip for cookware clients. So when they're new cookware clients, we send them 8 emails in a row of how to use Cutco cookware. That's why we have the gift letters. We have gift letters of every single product Cutco makes so that anybody that buys a gift for anybody else, we can send them a letter that explains what that is and how to use it and why Cutco's great. And you can just say, cool, I'm going to send you this gift letter. You can put it with the gift. It's really awesome. People love it. So you just anticipate what you usually get questioned for anyway and just deliver it without being asked, right? So anticipate and over deliver. And then the third point is human connection. And I'll make this quick. So there's a study on customerthink.com that revealed that the #1 reason customers dread calling companies for support these days is because majority of the time they're expecting to run into an automated system, right? Not a human. 84% of customers are more likely to continue doing business if they're treated like a person by a representative rather than a number. Because of all the technological advancements and the fact that so many companies are using bots in recordings these days instead of an actual human, they now are coining the human touch in customer service as a luxury. Okay, that is crazy to me, crazy, because I am one of those customers that I always want a human on the end of the phone, and I'm always disappointed when I get a bot or recording or whatever the case may be. So we try really hard to provide the human connection for our customers. So when remember that you're dealing with humans, you may be making 10 calls a day or 100 calls a day, but for them it's that one call, right? So don't treat each customer like a check off your to-do list. Oh, I made that call. Instead, talk to them. Oh, I'm out of time. 2 seconds. Talk to them. Talk to them like a person. Talk to them like they're your friend, the way you would talk to your friend, right? So that's pay attention to their tone and speed and body language. Chelsea mentioned that earlier, like picking up on those cues to understand how they're feeling and being empathetic. Ask questions to better understand and give them a chance to verbalize something maybe they're not saying. Smile, be friendly, have fun if you can. Chelsea mentioned that too. Have jokes, make them laugh, make it a good time. If you can connect with them on a human level, it's going to be so much more well received by the customer. To wrap up, this is what the word service means in the dictionary. As a noun, service means a helpful act. As an adjective, it means useful. And as a verb, it means being helpful. So if all you ever do is just constantly ask yourself, how can I be most helpful in this moment? And then do that, you're going to be most of the way there. Thank you.